Hello! Today I'm going to be sharing my visa interview experience with you. To begin with, I am a fall 22 student. I go to NJIT and my visa interview happened around the same time last year. The dates I don't remember exactly, but it was something like 13th and 14th or so. My visa interview experience was in Chennai. I live in Chennai. My experience was also in Chennai. So I'll start with what I wore to my biometrics as well as my interview. For my biometrics, I was wearing a kurti with a collar just to be more professional. And for my visa interview, I wore blue formal pants and a pink shirt. Very simple. I did not tuck it in. It was easy breezy. And I did have a bindi on both days. That's pretty much it. Nothing to sweat about. You can wear anything that's comfortable with you guys as long as it's very presentable. I have friends who wore kurtis on both days. That also works. Just wear something formal. Indian formals works. Western formals also work, but I don't mean saris and all by Indian formals. So without any delay, let me start off with what my questions were. I have 15 questions written down here, but I'm pretty sure I was asked a few more questions. I just cannot recall all of them. So my first question was, why are you going to the US? I said, I'm going to pursue my master's in computer science at NJIT. Then they asked me, how many universities did you apply to? I said I applied to 5 universities and got 3 admits. But in reality, I applied to more universities, but it wouldn't give off a good impression if I told them that I applied to 10 but got only 3 admits. So I had to reduce it and say I applied to 5 universities and had admits from 3. The third question was which all universities I applied to. So I had applied to Arizona State University, University of Colorado Boulder, Sunny Buffalo, Arizona State University, and NJIT. These are the 5 I told them. And then I was asked what admits I do have. So here's a tip. If you have an admit from a better university, do not mention it. Chances of your visa getting rejected are higher. You could have a very valid reason for not picking the better university, but they are not going to listen to you. I have a friend who had an admit from NYU and still chose to come to NJIT. And the first time, his visa got rejected. And the second time, he did not mention NYU and then he received. His reason was he did not get the course of his choice. So he did not go to NYU. But the visa interview officer is not going to ask you why you did not select the better university. Okay. So my next question was, why NJIT? I said it's a tier 1 research university. I did my research. I mentioned all of those. And then they asked me, when did you graduate? I graduated in 2022 and I left for the fall of 2022. My 8th semester results weren't even out yet, but I already had an admit and my visa interview was also going on by this time. And then they asked me if I wrote GRE. I said yes, and then I mentioned my score to them. And then they asked me if I wrote IELTS or TOEFL. I said I wrote IELTS and I have a band of 8. And then they asked me if I had traveled outside of India before, and no, I had not. So I said the same thing to them. The next question was about my funding. The exact question that they asked me was, have you secured an educational loan? I said no, my father is funding for me. And then they asked me, what is your father? My answer to this was, my dad is a business owner. He does so and so and so. I did not leave it open-ended, so the person could not ask me more questions on this answer. I suggest that you do the same. Say your dad is a business owner. He produces this for this. Or he manufactures this and ships it to this on a contract basis or on a daily basis, something like that. But keep it crisp, to the point, and finish the entire answer. If they do ask more questions about our dad's profession, we may not be able to answer all of them. It could have us thinking. And thinking in front of the visa officer, not good. Next question was, what do you want to do in the future? I said, I want to build my career as a software architect. And then follow-up question was, which courses are you taking now that will help you go closer to your goals? I mentioned all of my core courses. I said these are my core courses and they are key in me achieving my goal. And then they asked me if I have any siblings. Yes, I do. I have one younger sister. When this happened, she was in 6th grade. And then they asked me, what was your final year project? I explained my project in 2 lines. Keep it crisp. You don't have to say my final year project was. Just say, I worked on detecting this using ML techniques, or I worked on predicting this and this using these techniques. Okay? And then the final question was this a group project? I said, no, it wasn't. I worked on it all by myself. That is the truth. It was a solo project, and that's what I said. So even though they were 15 plus questions, it felt more like a conversation. Even when I was telling you these questions were pretty simple, if you're prepared enough, just stay confident, you can do it. It's just going to be like a conversation. Be it a short interview or a long interview, it is going to feel like a conversation if you are prepared enough. After I answered the final question, she said, okay, I'm approving your visa, have fun in New Jersey. I said thank you and I left. Now that we're done with the questions, let me get into the crux and the details of what exactly happened. So on my biometrics day, I went there right on time. I wasn't ahead of my slot. I maybe went like 10 minutes prior to my slot. I went in there, it was a line, it was a pretty simple process. I went in, they took my passport, they took a picture of me, and then my fingerprints, and then I was right out. And then the next day was my visa interview. But guess what? I'm sharing this just so you don't feel too tensed about your visa interview. My farewell, my college farewell was right before the day of my visa interview. I had my biometrics, I had to rush back home, I changed my clothes, I did my makeup, everything. I went to college for the farewell party. Farewell party got over, I wanted to head back home because obviously the next day was my visa interview, but my friends were not okay with it. They took me out for ice cream. I had an ice cream. And then I got back home, I had a cough. My voice was bad. There was barely any voice coming out of me. I had a very bad throat. I got back home at like 9 o'clock at night. I went to sleep. I got up in the morning. My slot was, I believe, at 8 or 8:30. Is that the earliest slot? It's been a year, I do not remember. So I woke up in the morning. I gargled with salt water because my voice was still very, very bad. But I was not disheartened. So anything like that happens to you, it's fine. You're going to do okay. Do not get tensed. Just stay confident, you got this, okay? That morning, after I gargled and everything, I dressed up. I went to a temple. I prayed. I was like, God, please make them approve my visa. That was a desperate time, right? All of you are like that. I understand. So I went. We were all waiting outside the Chennai VAC. So before going in, my dad was with me, so I gave him my phone, anything extra that I had, I gave it to him. And if you can, do not take anything with you. Try your best to leave it behind. Maybe take a friend along, give it to them, make them hold it. I did not see anybody submitting any of their things to anyone. In front of me or behind me, there was nobody carrying anything. So it was pretty seamless. We all just went in. So we went in, was seeing so many officers sitting there interviewing people. There was one person who was very, very kind. I was like, oh God, please make me get this person, because he was barely asking them any questions. He was like, why are you going? Where are you going? Okay, cool. I'm approving your visa. I wanted to go there, but no, I did not get that person. I did not even realize that the visa interviewers were sitting in an L-shaped, and I was only seeing this strip of interviewers. The other side, I did not even know that there was somebody sitting there. But I did go to the other end that I couldn't see, right? I went there. There was a boy in front of me. He was going to go to the United States for his bachelor's. The visa interviewer was asking him questions. This boy tried his best to answer. but he got his visa rejected. And I think I know why. When the officer asked him, "Why did you pick this university?" this kid said something like, "My cousin lives there and he told me it's a good university." Do not say things like that. Always say that you did your research and you know that this is the right university for you and that is why you're going there. So the person in front of me got their visa rejected. I was a little sad for them. I had to snap out of it and then go on with my interview. But before I could snap out of it, the officer said, "Hello, good morning, how are you?" I said, "I'm good, thank you." And then my interview just went on so quickly. So why I'm saying this is, I did not even use the word officer or "I'm good, officer, how are you?" I did not ask things like that. I just said thank you and went on. It is not necessary that you butter up your visa officer before you start your interview, okay? You properly answering your questions itself will fetch you your visa. I know people in these Telegram groups say greet that person, be nice to them. I do not think it's as important as you answering the questions right. "I'm fine, thank you" is also good enough. That's what I did. And I have my visa approved. I've lived in the US for 10 months and then I'm back here for summer break. Visa interview went on and then I got my green slip and I walked out. I said, "Daddy, I got it approved." And then I called, I told my mom I got it approved, and then I told my best friend that I got it approved. And that was it. That was my visa interview experience. If you have any questions, do comment them down below. I will respond to each and every single one of them. I'm a small YouTuber, right? So any comment that I get lights up my day. Even if you want me to make a specific kind of a video, let me know in the comments below. I will make a video like that. If you did find this video useful and you do want to see more content from me, do subscribe to my channel. Also give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you again in another video.